Before we begin, make sure that you can do 180 finger flips perfectly. And I do mean perfectly, don't rush this. If you can't do 180 finger flips smoothly, consistently, and rolling at speed, don't bother watching this video. You're going to waste your time. Go back, learn the 180 finger flip, and then watch this video, and what follows will seem a lot easier. It should go without saying that your foot placement for a 360 finger flip is much the same as for a 180 finger flip. Your front foot should point straight towards the nose, roughly halfway along the board, right on one side. And then your back foot wants to be nestled right on the curve of the kick tail, just on the edge there. Don't point it straight forward, don't stick it out to the side, neither of those positions is going to work. Just a slight angle, so it's nice and comfortable, and pushing just against the curve of the tail. I know I say this with every finger flip trick tip, but it's always relevant. Always make sure you're grabbing the board here. You want your fingers underneath, your thumb on top, right in the center of the nose. Just because this is spinning, don't try grabbing off to the side, don't try pulling it from here, don't reach around this way. Always keep your grip as central as possible because it gives you the cleanest, fastest, and smoothest flip, and it stops you from pulling the board way off and throwing it off to the side. Your basic technique for the 360 finger flip is much like most rolling finger flips. You want to ball up tightly, really squat deep. Grab the nose, and then what you're going to do is straighten your legs, stand up and jump as you swap your weight back to the tail. So you're coming to here, and that's the point you jump from. Now, the major difference between this and the 180 finger flip is nothing to do with the feet or the takeoff, it's all about how much you move that arm. A 180 finger flip, you pull and you release about here, which means your backhand never really has to move much. A 360 finger flip is a much more violent rip. In order to get the full rotation, you're throwing this arm all the way around. The problem with that is that it puts a lot of stress on this shoulder. You've got to make sure you warm it up properly first. I have a habit of going in and doing these cold, forgetting about it, and really hurting this back shoulder from doing these. Make sure you're warmed up, make sure you're supple before you even think about throwing one. So now I'm going to do a 180 finger flip and a 360 finger flip, one after the other. And I want you to try and see the difference. But don't look at my hand. Everyone looks at finger flip tricks, they think it's all here, and it isn't. Not really. This trick is predominantly dictated by your shoulder positioning. And that is what's going to make the difference between the 180 and the 360. So as I do a 180, as you can see, I land with my hand pretty much over my nose. My body orientation hasn't changed much. My shoulders are still facing that way. As a result, it feels like I've not done a lot. It feels like a very casual trick. 360 finger flip could not be more different. In comparison, if you look, I've had to throw my shoulder a lot further back throughout the trick. I still end up with my hand pretty much here, just out of habit, but my shoulder is a lot further back on the landing. I'm almost coming parallel with the board as I finish the trick. So the reason we're starting in this very parallel stance, facing forwards, is kind of twofold. First of all, as you pop and rip this board out, you come to here, jump and pull. This foot, because it's positioned right on the edge here, it gets away from the board a lot faster. It stops it from getting in the way and obstructing the flip. But it also means that this back foot, the one that's nestled in here, as you pull this round, it can actually push the tail just slightly. So if you're struggling to get the rotation, because it is quite a lot to throw around, just give it a little nudge with the back foot, not too much. If you push it too far, you'll probably end up throwing the board way off. But just a little scoop with that back foot on the takeoff will go a long way towards giving you the full 360 rotation. The other big difference with a 360 finger flip compared to most finger flip tricks is you don't need to preload the board first. If you've not seen my other videos, if you don't know what I mean by that, basically what happens when I'm teaching people to do regular finger flips, I say pull up with the fingers and down with the thumb before you even leave the board. You should see the board start to twist before you jump. That way, as soon as your weight comes off it, your fingers and thumb go through the board. They push through and finish the flip as soon as they can. It makes it much quicker, much snappier, a much easier trick overall. But you don't need to do that with 360 finger flips. Because of the fact you jump so high, you pull it so far out to the side, if you do that, you end up with more flip than you bargained for. Really, if you've got a good finger flip grip here, as you pull out, you'll find that your fingers are pulling up and your thumb's pushing down anyway. That's another reason why we don't want to grab it at the sides. Keeping it central actually means the flip comes in with this motion. So you really don't have to do a lot. Just focus on getting a clean takeoff. Bring that shoulder round, bring the arm with it, and just let it go. It's incredibly lazy. Just grab and rip. That's all there is to it. Oh! See, that's why you don't preload the flip. It's very easy to put in more flip than you wanted. The biggest mistake I see people making with 360 finger flips, other than incorrect hand position that is the starting posture. The reason I'm telling you to start balled up like this is because the alternative is bending over. This is bad for two reasons. First of all, it's horrible for your back. If you constantly try finger flips like this, all that's going to happen is you're going to end up with a really bad lower back. If you ball up, it takes a lot of the stress off your back and makes it more comfortable. But also, from here, there's nowhere for you to go. Your legs are kind of under stress. They're already kind of mostly straight. So as you tip your weight back to here and try and jump, you just can't do anything. On the other hand, if you ball up, you can stay like this pretty much forever. Your legs are relaxed, your back is in a natural position, and then all you've got to do is straighten your legs very quickly as you swap your weight back. So I come to here, and I can just explode upwards. This is going to require quite a big jump to get the time to get the board the whole way around. You're never going to get that if your legs start out mostly straight. When I do double 360 finger flips, I ball up so tightly, my chest is actually touching my thigh. This balled up position gives you the most power and the cleanest takeoff. Now obviously when you first start doing this trick, it's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of preparation every time you want to do it. You know, you've got to get in position, you've got to squat down, you've got to grab the nose, remember the technique, get a bit of confidence going. So you've got to make sure you roll at this with enough speed that you've still got some momentum to transfer into that rotation for the trick. You can do this slow or even stationary, but it's a lot harder. The faster you go, the easier it is, at least to a point. Which leads me to a game that I used to play when I was a kid, you know, just teenager, early 2000s. We were obsessed with the Marvelous videos because this was a time when not many people were doing big rolling tricks and not many people were doing 360 finger flips, but the Japanese had absolutely mastered them. And you'd watch guys like Masahiro and Toshiaki Fuji doing these long rolling lines and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, bang, 360 finger flip. At high speed a lot of the time. So that became our challenge. How fast can you do a 360 finger flip and still stay on? It's a terrifying game, but it's a lot of fun. So when you've mastered this one, give it a go. Fast Japanese style 360 finger flips are really addictive, even if they are still terrifying to this day.